Which one do you choose?
I'll take the oath.
Thank you so much. If you take the oath, you will state your names in full and say, I swear that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and so help me God.
I, Beki Hamilton Cele, I swear that the information I'll give will be the truth and the only truth. So help me God.
Thank you so much, Retired General. SC, I'm handing over to you. It will be until 13 hours.
Thank you, Honourable Chair, honourable members. Good morning, General. Good morning.
Good morning, SC, together with the honourable members.
And welcome, and thank you for your for your cooperation, that despite, I think, some earlier media report that you weren't prepared to cooperate. We found you to be most cooperative, and when we arranged to meet you, you had no issues, no problem. You confirm that?
No, thanks for that. I was a little bit disturbed when the media said I'm not cooperating, especially one of the KZN paper had a big headline that Cele snaps the ad hoc.
Yeah.
I've never done that. Even the first cooperation, I came here with my own financial steam, buying my own ticket, my everything, but I still came here for consultation.
You did.
Thanks.
I hope you get reimbursed. You know.
Maybe the chair will see to that. Yeah, I'll be glad, because flights coming down here from Durban are not very cheap.
Yeah. And just in terms of your designation, if you can just get that out of the way. I asked you earlier, we always ask you, do you prefer to be called General Cele, former Minister Cele? Because the designation General, that designation was conferred on you much earlier when you were the National Commissioner, and that was under a previous administration. You didn't give it to yourself.
No, I didn't give it to myself. The general of the South African police, at any given time with the police, there is one general. There can be others, but general is one. As at the present moment, there is one general in the police. This came after the decision taken by the former President Zuma, who invited all the station commanders in the country, in Pretoria, and said he did not like this thing the police called commissioners and superintendents. I remember seeing superintendents belongs to the hospital. Yeah. And then minister had to gazette the change of the ranks, and that's how these ranks came about. That the general actually is a director general of the South African police. And then there are lieutenant colonels, lieutenant generals. Those are deputy director generals. All lieutenant generals are deputy directors. And then there will be major generals. Those are chief directors on the normal government environment. Then there will be brigadiers. Most people that are not in this environment, they love this rank, brigadier. They think it's something big. It's just a director. It's just a director. And then you go down, then below director, there is a full colonel who happened to be a deputy director. Below there is a lieutenant colonel who is an assistant director, and then
so
you go
that
down.
Was similar to the establishment in the public service administration.
Yes. But the question, do I want to? I know generals, that title doesn't fall. It's like ambassador. That title doesn't fall. except that when you are written general in brackets, retired.
So do you want to be called retired General Cele?
That
Or
should
former
be so,
minister,
but
Cele.
former minister, whatever it comes.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, former minister. You've been through your statement several times, and we've consulted you on it. So perhaps we've also been through the terms of reference, which you'll see quoted on page 3, General, page 3 and 4, and there's a number of paragraphs in the terms of reference that you able to assist the honourable members of the committee when it comes to interpreting them and applying them. For example, 4.1.1 political interference within SAPS, you can speak to that. Any related claim regarding corruption, financial or otherwise bribery, misuse of public resources within SAPS, evaluating the extent of misconduct and unethical behavior by the members of SAPS. You've been the minister mostly, so you definitely can assist with evaluating the effectiveness of the PKTT. You can't help us with the status of the dockets. You can perhaps cast some light on the instability in crime intelligence. You can speak to us about the alleged corrupt relationship between Minister Nkunu and Brown Mogotsi, and between Mogotsi and Vusumuzi Katmatlala. You can perhaps assist us with some other aspects, leadership failures, and your own personal experience being in leadership positions in the police, both as a national commissioner and as a minister. Perhaps you can comment on the procurement process within SAPS and how that could be strengthened, because we know there's a lot of corruption in the procurement process. You can talk to us about the alleged existence of organized crime syndicate. You can also perhaps talk about the failure of any organ of state, how that links with criminal syndicates. You could perhaps assist us commenting on how public trust can be restored in the police, given your experience and perhaps any conflicts of interest that within SAPS itself. We know that there's jurisdictional issues between national, provincial, between provincial and deputy national commissioners, and their role that they play from head office, and the PKTT itself as a national unit, but largely focus on KZN, who has jurisdiction. So those are some of the issues you can assist us with. Would it be fair to say that, General? You've got to speak into the microphone. You're never a man short of words. The nodder's not going to pick. They're not going to pick it up.
No, that's fine.
Thank you. So you served as our Minister of Police from February 2018 until June 2024. You were not reappointed after the formation of the Government of National Unity in June 2024. but rather your successor, Minister Mkhunu, was appointed. Now, before that, you had also served as a national commissioner for 2 years until there were misconduct allegations against you. You were suspended in October 2011 and then removed in June 2012. Do you want to tell us about that?
No, thanks. Thanks, Honorable.
If you do need some assistance, it's in your statement. But I'm sure you can,
I'll look at the
from
assistance,
memory, yeah.
but I also deal with the assistance that I know. Thanks. Thanks, honorable members and all that are present. I think all my life has been on security matters. After elections in '94, I was a member of the legislature in KZN, and I was the first chair of the Safety and Security Portfolio Committee in that province. And well, I held other positions as chair of chairs and all that, but the main one was that I was a chair of the Safety and Security Portfolio Committee. That was a province which was very violent and a lot of turbulence even after elections. I'm sure the members that come from that province will remember that. When the violence, otherwise mainly political violence, subsided nationally, in KZN did not. There were still some killings. The major killing was on the 25th December 1995. Remember, we've gone for election in '94. In a place called Shobane, when 19 people were killed on the 25th of December. I'm sure everybody knows what is the 25th of December. So violence went on at a mass level, but later it got a little bit an organized kind of violence. So when one became the national commissioner, had to look at the mandate of the Constitution, what you're supposed to do, is to try and keep South Africans safe and do things in a way that they're supposed to put South Africans first and put them safe and all that. So I was approached to be a National Commissioner of the South African Police. I must say, I did not agree initially. I did not like it. I was comfortable because I was an MSc in KZN by that time, MSc of Security and Transport. So for me, province was nice and comfortable. I was not very much keen to go national. I remember when I was approached by the president, which I think is his constitutional prerogative to appoint national commissioners, I said to him, Baba, I'm not very keen, but unless you say you are instructing me, so I'll do it. And he said, I'm instructing you. I said, okay, then I'll take the instruction. And I became then the National Commissioner, I think it was June 2009.
Who was then Minister of Police?
The Minister of Police was Mthethwa, the late Mthethwa. May his soul rest in peace. And then I went to be introduced. I was supposed to start 3 months earlier, but Beki, who was the National Commissioner, had not been told, and the statute says you must be told 3 months before if you are not going to be appointed again as a National Commissioner. So that's what delayed my appointment, that it came in July 2009. So as it came, I was introduced in Mahlambandlovu. All generals were invited. You could see that there was some shock in some other generals that who is this outcomer who comes here when they're on general. But one adapted quite quick, and the working relationship with all the generals was very cordial, with except a few. Fortunately, we had a target, we had a focus to work towards. That was World Cup 2010. So we had a very little time to do other things, but we had to make sure that 2010 is safe. One worked with everybody that found there, especially in the headquarters where Masimula would be part of them. General Praise was there, General Libia was there, General Cruiser was there, and General Mafume was there. I guess she's Shivambu now. Were there. So General Cele from Eastern Cape. These generals you find there, they were from different disciplines of policing. They were from Bantustans and from the original SAPF, South African Police Force. They've been put together mostly by Beki Cele, and that's why you've got 2 days to celebrate in the South African Police. It's the first Sunday of September, where you remember all the fallen heroes, especially those that have fallen in the line of duty. And then you have the 27th of January, where you celebrate the finding of the South African Police Service from the force. So you could see that there were still tendencies of where people come from and all that, but we had a project to work on, which made life much easier, working towards 2010.
Was then Brigadier Mkwanazi, was he also part of your team?
Brigadier Mkwanazi was quite a junior at the time, as you say, Brigadier. But for some reason, I found myself working quite close with him. In 2010, when I think the World Cup was supposed to start on the 9th of June, if I'm not mistaken, when I was in PE, launching the TROT, known as Amabaret, I was phoned by the president of SAFA, Danny Jordan, to say that there is a crisis coming on, and then can I see you with immediate effect? So I know that we'll be discussing immediate a long time.
Yes, and you, did you meet him immediately or some months afterwards?
So he said, "Can I see you immediately?" So I saw him that day. That immediately was that day when I saw him. I flew from PE straight to OR. I find him seated there with Valk. I forget his first name. Valk was the Secretary General of FIFA.
Jerome Valk.
There was a problem. This was around March now. There was a problem that the World Cup is being taken away from South Africa. There was a big clash between Valk and FIFA President Blatter to say, you said the cup must go to South Africa, and there is a lot of crime in South Africa. There were 2 countries that they said they were ready to host. That was Australia and Germany. Remember, Germany had hosted it previously. So we spoke with the president to say, how can we save the World Cup? It was on the score that I assembled the team of generals in the police, and we went to Zurich to make the president. To be honest, the nation does not know that South African Police Service saved 2010. Without that meeting, without us going to Zurich and making presentation, with all participating countries, sometimes with their heads of security, it took us a long time. General Praise made a good presentation. Among those, most of them were generals, except 3 that were brigadiers. Mkhwanazi was part of that. Mkhwanazi had come in because he was responsible for ORS. This is a response services, which puts together all special services, special forces of the South African Police. Is your special task team. Now it will be your NIU. There are CATs under there, and there are TROT. That time, there was no TROT, and I think there were no CATs. Specifically, it was Special Task Force and NIU. Then Mkhwanazi was part of that. And for some reason, we work quite closely with him. I'll come back what happened as he becomes the first or the acting National Commissioner. So we made the presentation there. All countries were saying, are not going to go to South Africa. The people that were leading that rebel were British. And clearly, if British could not come to the World Cup in South Africa, many people were going to join them. Until at the later stage, we were supported by Brazil and all that. And Germany was very vocal to say, we are ready. And remember, they have launched it previously. So from that meeting, fortunately, there was a meeting, a General Assembly of Interpol in Lens, in France. So we had to fly there to convince the Interpol to say it's safe to come to South Africa, so that the campaign of safety and coming to South Africa is not just pushed by South Africans alone, but is also pushed by Interpol. That's how then we managed to work on the 2010 coming to South Africa. So that's why I'm saying that we had a project to work on, so we had not much time of differences among and between ourselves as officials in that particular time. And finally, 2010 did come in South Africa.
Yeah. I think most, if not all, South Africans are indebted to the work done by the police during 2010. It was probably the high point of the trust that people had in the police. Or maybe the so that there was a high level of trust, or maybe the crooks and the robbers just took a break in 2010, watching football. But seriously, it was a high point in this country. But for you, the honeymoon was over in October 2011, when you were charged with some misconduct. Just tell us briefly about that, and also then your removal.
Yes, it is true. I think we continue to work very well as a South African police. Quite several benchmarks. For instance, we managed to establish what is known as subset. South African Police Service Education Trust was established at that time under that management. It's quite big today. I know that its job was to help the young orphans produced by the death of the officers that dying on the line of duty. So those were things to do. One other thing was the well-being and welfare of the police. We wanted to see them fit. They behave better. So we also negotiated. South African police, even today, they've got a special reduction of about 20 to 30% with Virgin Active in the country. It was negotiated at the time to work on that. So quite good things happened in that time, working with the collective of the management in that particular time. Yeah. One report we received was the the fact that the Waghuis is a headquarters of the South African police in Pretoria, was condemned as a building dangerous. For instance, if you go there on the rainy days down, there is just the Mississippi River water, the stagnant there, and all that kind of stuff, and the lifts are not working, and but every office has an overpopulated with paper, so it was condemned. We had to get the new premises. So it is on that score that I signed the need. What happens? The director generals of different departments, they sign their needs when it comes to the acquiring the property, and they hand over that to Public Works. So that's what happened. So Public Works had to negotiate further how we get the building. So for some reason, it was alleged that one had done wrongly when I followed the same thing. So the public protector then was put on working on the matter. Public protector recommended that the minister had to take the action against the national commissioner, that is Mthethwa Cele. But the president did not see it that way. President wanted to put the commission to look at the fitness of the commissioner to the office in that particular time. And then, funny part of it is that in September, I visited the president. We spent 45 minutes, and I briefed him to say the next day I was going to go to Mpumalanga to launch the safety season. And the president, we spent 45 minutes, and then he said goodbye to me. He said it in Sizulu, "Tuhambe kahle mfana kithi." So I didn't know that I was going forever. But and then I left. He said he was busy meeting some people. What I didn't know is that those people who I was busy with, they were discussing my suspension. Yeah. And then, as I was at work in Mpumalanga, I remember we arrested somebody with a big bag of dagga. The journalist came to me and asked me, "What do you want here? Because you are suspended." I said, "No, I'm not suspended." They said, "No, you are suspended." I checked with the staff. If they check, I was told that at about 2:15, the president has in live TV read my suspension on TV. So I was supposed to go there with Mkhwanazi to that operation, but I don't know what time. In the morning, I was told that Mkhwanazi was not going to come because he has been phoned the previous night.
He is now the acting national commissioner.
No, he was phoned the previous night that he must not go, he must go and see the minister. So the rest is that then he was to be made the acting national commissioner, which means minister and the president, they know that they're going to suspend me, but they allowed me to go and be suspended on the field. And as I was busy working. So as I came back, I was then suspended national commissioner, but the announcement was made as part of suspension that Judge Mohoro would lead the commission, that will check the fitness of the office. And then one had to sit and wait for that time to come. But at a later stage, it was changed from Mohoro, and it was made Moloi from Free State. And I was told that the minister phoned the president and told him that the minister was too close to Judge Mohoro because she was working as one of the trustees of the Education Trust, which was chaired by Smangaliso Mkajwa. So they felt that it was too close. Maybe it would be biased towards Cele. That's why they changed and they brought Moloi from Free State. I must say that commission was very much loaded against me. For instance, a person that has been my main accuser was Cele, who used to be a commissioner of the South African, or who used to be a commissioner of police in Ciskei. And the prosecutor there was Noche, who used to be the minister of police in Ciskei. So Cele and Noche were coming from Ciskei and they were prosecuting me. But one person that was there was Judge Madanga, who was one of the leaders of the...
He was the evidence leader.
Yes. And then finally the decision was taken. I was found not to be fit for the office, and then I guess in 2012, then I was fired.
But we know that you subsequently challenged that decision. You took it on review, and it was granted in the High Court, although it was not opposed by the South African Police or the Minister of Police, and you were then cleared. But just to backtrack a bit, what would have been the motivation, to your knowledge, for your initial suspension and the subsequent inquiry that was instituted into your alleged misconduct?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it will be accumulation of being delinquent, because there were orders that I refused to take. Maybe the first one was to suspend Mdluli. Mdluli was suspended by me.
Richard Mdluli.
Yeah, Richard Mdluli was suspended by
Was
me.
he the head of crime intelligence
Yes.
at the time? Yeah.
Funny enough, Mdluli was employed June when I was coming in July. And funny enough, is the only Lieutenant General I know that was interviewed by the panel of ministers. Usually it will be the officials, the DGs and all, but he was, I think, if I remember, there were about 3 of them. The one I remember was Mtetwa and Cele and the others. So he came there before the National Commissioner came. So that created some problem between the National Commissioner and the head of intelligence. And the head of intelligence mostly would be reporting direct to the president, which I don't think is a problem, but also reporting to the minister, which then I think is a problem, because it's a National Commissioner that is supposed to be reporting to the minister. The second one, I remember that both the minister and deputy minister was Deputy Minister Mbalula and Mtetwa. They came to me and they said they've been sent by the president and instructed them to tell me to fire General Shabalala. Sean Shabalala was the head of PSS. I didn't have the reason of firing him. Instead, I shifted him from PSS to IT, where he went to grow the IT of the South African Police. So there were quite some few of those things that I thought it would not be proper to follow those instructions. I remember that one brigadier, Tau, he was fired when he was in Algiers en route to France in preparation of the trip of the president, and I refused that he must be fired on that way without following. So I would guess, this is my guess, that it was accumulation maybe of being transigent in some matters. It came to that, but I believe that the building issues had less or nothing altogether to do with that kind of firing.
So after you you were dismissed in 2012, thereafter you went back into or took up political office again after that as the Deputy Minister of Agriculture.
That was 2014.
Yeah.
After election. Well, there is an argument that people will say that the president was kind to me to take me back as a deputy minister of agriculture. Actually, that's the only time that I was out of the security establishment. I don't think so. I think either the people of South Africa or the ANC did take me back to Parliament. I remember that I was almost number one to every list that ever existed, provincial to national, national was number 10. And all. So there was no way that I guess somebody would have been ignored. And I remember that Minister Senzo Mchunu was going to be Premier of KZN, and he went to the President to request that I go back to province so that we can strengthen the province. The President said no, he needed me nationally because he was going to give me a very crucial job. And indeed, I was the Deputy Minister of Agriculture. It was quite crucial because one was looking after fish and forest. So, after that, then there were elections, or there was a conference of the ANC which changed the guard, and Ramaphosa became the president. And then we went for the election, and President Ramaphosa, and then appointed me then on February 2018. Remember, that was still the 5th administration. It was not 6th administration yet. It was the 5th. So I became the minister on the 5th administration for the first part of the year before we went for elections for the 6th administration. So there where then the question of this political killing task team comes in, because it was formed in the 5th administration, not on the 6th administration.
So, before we come to your tenure as Minister of Police, can we just discuss or get your views briefly about the allegations that gave rise to the establishment of this ad hoc committee? The allegations made on the 6th of July by General Mkhwanazi, when he raised a number of what was clearly very serious issues within the South African Police Service. And given that you had spent a considerable time in the service, both as a National Commissioner and as a Minister, it would be of interest to us to hear how your response was at the time, if any. What did you think? Can you just discuss that briefly?
Yes, I was at the gym when I was phoned. That the
At the gym?
Yes.
Are you still got the 20%?
No, that was for the junior officers, not for ministers and the top brass. Those they don't have 20%. That comes from colonel down to the constables. So they still do, but I don't. Even as a pension, I still pay a full amount. So I was at the gym when I was told that the Provincial Commissioner of KZN, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, is making the appearance there. So fortunately, I was towards the end, so the gym is not far from where I stay. So indeed, I found him on the screen, but I could see that he was in a full gear, a full gear of special task force with some members of task force and the members of NUU, and almost all district commissioners were seated, if not all, maybe one or two. And I guess there would be about 11 districts in KZN. So they were there. So while I listened, and quite a big statement that was made on that particular day. And I knew some of the things that he would have said, and I would not know some of the things, as there would be more of operation. But I realized that one of the major problems was the issue of a task team that was dismantled. But I also knew that the task team has been dismantled because I saw the letter of the 31st December 2024, which I must say, personally was taken aback by the letter for several things that one can explain how it happened.
Did these allegations made by General Mkhwanazi during the press briefing, did it surprise you? Did it take you aback? Were you, what was your reaction?
Well, some surprised me, especially when he called SB a criminal. That surprised me. But look, I'm not a police officer, so I would not know what is an investigation, what makes a police call the police that way. But whatever was said, I felt it had to be investigated further to find the facts on the matter. But in the portion that I did not know was the group of officers that have been sent to assist the investigations in Gauteng. I did not know that, which is not a problem because as a minister, there are operations that you know, there are operations that you don't know. There are quite operations that are covert, that very few would know, that is accepted and known to the police. And there are those that they can be initiating the interministerial. But there are some of them. For instance, if you go to Manguzi, there is a lot of problem between Mozambique and South African border. It's called Operation Kotwemvubu. That is ministerial, but established by the National Commissioner. One big operation, quite big, is what is going on in the Western Cape. Initially, it was called Operation Thunder. That started almost on the same time with the PKTT. Operation Thunder was changed later to be Operation Lockdown, and that still continues. It's one of the biggest. I don't have figures of finances, but I can assure you that is not cheap, because while I was still there, in 25 months, we paid 116 million for that operation. And it has not been scaled down ever since up to this point, though it has changed the name. It's still continuing here in Western Cape as Operation Lockdown. So it's an operation where almost every second month, police from different provinces are invited to come in Western Cape, and all those police SC, they live in the hotels, 200 of them, and there was a negotiated price for them to be, which was 800 rands a night for a single police in the hotels. So you would imagine that is expensive for 200 people to sleep 800 rand a night in the hotel from 2018 up to this point, because it's still continuing. So it's not true that is only PKT that has been operating and paying money for. There are other operations that have happened. This Operation Thunder is one big of them. One most expensive that is still continuing is Operation Valumkoti. That one deals with the illegal mining. Again, that one is not ministerial, it's interministerial, because it was also demanded by the president, and the JCPS cluster sat down and invited other relevant departments. One was the Department of Minerals, because it was touching on them. It's quite expensive. I think that had to find billions to run, and those billions from the South African police were found from Kara, were paid from Kara. Kara, if I'm not mistaken, is a criminal assets recovery account. So that's the money that is put there in that account, having been taken from the criminal activities, so that it finds the fighting of crime again. So I think it's quite expensive that most departments got some serious amounts. Big chunk went to the police. I think it was 1.2 billion to run there. The other one went even to Home Affairs to buy the equipment to cross the river. They demanded it, but when you go to that river, you don't see how can you use it. How do you use not a ship, these small things to cross the river? But it also is the first money that bought things like drones. I'm sure you have seen the drones. That thing came under that Operation Valumkoti, working on the illegal crossing and all that. I think that is still continuing. So again, it's a level of a cabinet by the president. Those two, Operation Valumkoti and the PKTT, they come from that level, and then they have interministerials.
So just still briefly on the July 6 media briefing, when General Mkonazi spoke about the infiltration into the criminal justice system, into the NPA, magistracy, the justice, judges, and this was sort of spearheaded by drug cartels. Was this new to you? Was this a revelation to you? Or has this always been the case? Or is it just a recent development or phenomena? Your comments on that?
General Mkhwanazi is not the first one who made this allegation of this infiltration. If I'm not mistaken, it was said by Judge Tulare here in Western Cape. I think I have.
Yeah, you refer to a judgment.
Yeah, judgment.
It's on page 6 of your statement, General.
Yes. Well, the members, I guess they have it, but the judge, this is before Mkhwanazi, where he says, maybe reading that the evidence further shows that the 28 gang and the mobsters in particular are breathing heavily on the necks of the public prosecutors, not only the police. He continues to say, these are prosecutors who guide the investigation of organized crime and institute criminal proceedings against its members. Such prosecutors are under constant and permanent threat to their lives and that of their close families. The evidence also shows that the mobsters have now moved gear upwards and are interfering with the decorum of the courts and the independence of the judicial officers. So this is the judge saying, not Mkhwanazi. So Mkhwanazi is saying this thing much later than the judge has pointed this thing. And testing the judicial oath of office, especially the word without fear. SC, there are things that frustrate if you work with police. Now, across the justice system, one major problem for the police is something called bail. Well, I'm always told that is a constitutional right. That thing is a mess. That thing called bail is a mess. You know, you go to Tembisa, you find a guy called Beki. Beki had 43 cash heists and 5 bails. 43 cash heists and 5 bails.
43 cases or 43 alleged?
43.
Alleged cases.
No, he takes the money. Maybe it's not alleged if he doesn't take your money. But, well, he's arrested now. But he has been arrested and getting bail, arrested and getting bail, and arrested and getting bail. So, police get frustrated with that. One major frustration was a guy called Ntuli, not this one. Ntuli is accused number 5 in the case of
Meyiwa.
Senzo Meyiwa.
Yeah.
Ntuli, as we speak, he's doing 6 life sentences. He was found guilty and sentenced, but got an appeal, or got the right to appeal, and given the bail. When he has been found guilty and sentenced to 6 life sentences, still given the bail. And some of the people that he went after are those that gave evidence against him for him to get life. This is a bail, animal called the bail. So it's a problem for the police, but we're told it's a constitutional right. The second one will be non-cooperation of maybe prosecutors.
But just to pause there, it's a constitutional right, yes, because when you apply for bail, it's still just an allegation against you. Now, of course, we've got the chapter 6 where it's murder, rape, robbery, then the onus shifts to the defense, to the accused. But ordinarily, you've got a right to bail unless the state can show that you're a flight risk or that you're likely to commit the crime again, etc., or that you're a danger to the public. But what we need to understand, is the problem bail, or is it because, for example, the cartels and which seems to be suggested by Judge Tulari in his judgment, like the 28 gang, 27 gang, big year in the Western Cape, that they've infiltrated also the prosecutors and the magistrates. Is that part of the problem, or is that not the problem? Or is it a problem that bail is too readily?
And the judicial officers.
And the judiciary.
Yeah. And
the judiciary at first instance, very rarely, they hear bail appeals, but you don't go to a judge to get bail unless it's during the middle of the night.
I think Mlife's one was heard by the judge, eh?
What's that, General?
TK Mlife one was heard by the judge.
Yeah.
And they granted it.
Well,
okay. So I'm saying it is rare, but it does happen. It's a problem. I'm not a lawyer. I hear the Rashetul 6, the Rashetul 5, that if you repeat and all that, lawyers can talk on that. But I'm saying, if you are going for cash heist, you prepare. Part of your preparation for cash heist is to eliminate whoever is on your way. So you don't carry the broomstick. You don't carry the yellow dust. You carry things that will give you an upper hand in dealing with that. Hence, police die. Now, you go for the first cash heist with all those things. You go for the second one, you got the pay. You go for the third one, you got the pay. It's a constitutional, I'm not denying that. But what about the police that they arrest this person and they still have to encounter the same person on the field and they exchange fire again? The third time they encounter and they exchange fire again. What about those? It's not the magistrate or the judge that exchange fire there. Are the police. Maybe it's unfair, maybe it's a constitutional, maybe it's a legislation thing, but it is a problem for the police, that kind of thing. Especially those serious cases. Many people that rape and kill are on bail. People that maim, rape, and kill after they've been given the bail for the same thing. So I'm just making the point, I'm not talking about changing or right or wrong, but from the side of the police, that will be the problem. So what Mkhwanazi is saying is not the first time. Hence, it will be important that those things are investigated. But the other thing that would have been there are police officers, many of them, that have been arrested before Mkhwanazi made the statement, which then confirms the case that there are police that are corrupt. But there are prosecutors too. You see, especially this province, there are prosecutors that they say they can't give that. If you say enroll the case or you get the warrant of either arrest or what, they say, no, I'm not going to put my job on jeopardy. Here, there is an interesting case here where the warrant of the search warrant was given to search one gentleman called J.P. Smith, his premises. But the very same magistrate who gave that, when it was taken to court, he refused to give the evidence that indeed I did. So that is that fear fact that Judge Turan is talking about. So sometimes I get worried that this process concentrates on police when the allegation by Mkhwanazi was across the justice, when the pronunciation by the judge was across justice. But I do find that the concentration here is on police, and let other people go. SC, the biggest crime in South Africa is planned in prisons. There where the real planning takes place, in prisons. I hear less about that. You see, we arrested one guy here called Barra. Well, he was shot and killed with the exchange of the police somewhere in Eastern Cape. Barra was a young man of 30 years, and he was charged with 19 dead bodies. He was 30 years himself, was a teacher by profession here at Kailish. He was charged with 19 dead bodies. Were arrested, taken to Polsmo. He was found in Polsmo with 30 live ammunition, bullets, in prison. I'm sure he did not walk with them there. I'm sure it's not other prisoners. It's somebody that brought those things. We're told he was waiting for the gun, which means he was going to use. So that chain, for me, I find it limited here to police. When there is this problem from the very beginning, which is the police, to the very end, which is the correctional service.
Yeah, that's what General Mkhwanazi also, he includes correctional services.
I hope somebody will look at the correctional service. How do they communicate? If you go to any correctional center today and you take cellular at 11 and you go there at 5, we'll find the new ones. We'll find the new. Who bring them? And those cellular, they don't walk there. That here we are, phone. Somebody brings them there. And who is that? You see, we are phoned from prison. This guy phones me. He doesn't tell the name. He says, Cele, Ndos, he called me Ndos. Phone from somewhere in Escort. There are 3 people that are ready to go and kill Nkosi at Ulundi. They are having 3 AKs. They are in this lodge. He called by name. I phone him Mkhwanazi. I say, Mkhwanazi, there is this thing. This guy refuses to tell you. Mkhwanazi goes there, he finds exactly that. He finds exactly that. 3 AKs, 5 of these guys there, ready to go and kill Nkosi. There was an exchange of fire. Some of those guys died. He finds exactly that. This information comes from prison.
Okay, General, I'm sure you can give other examples, but you seem to confirm General Mkhwanazi's statement in that regard, that the correctional services is also infiltrated. And we know that from the now pretty notorious case of Thabo Bester, where you organize your own escape and you leave a body in your cell. But let's move on from there. Let's talk about the when you were appointed minister in 2018, and then the establishment of the interministerial committee.
Chairperson, there has been a problem in KZN of political violence en masse, but after elections, it was some sort of organized kind of, and then the people were dying, especially at the level of local leadership, politically, and also the councillors. I've listened to say that it was more of the ANC councillors. No, it's across the board. Quite several of the NFP, ANC, IFP, even EFF, DA, as we speak now, we're dealing with it. Those that are dealing with it, I left when they were dealing with it at Mpofana. The councillor that killed the family stood outside and banned the whole family and said his house has been banned. And I'm sure that guy didn't know that there's something called forensic. And the forensic discovered that he has done it, he has been sentenced and all that. It's happening. So, President visited the murder scene of Kashana Mngunu, who was a councillor there in Maritzburg. And from there, he made a call on the ministers of, I guess, were 4 ministries. That was police, defense, justice, this was together with the correctional service, and state security. So he says the ministers of these ministries, for me, interministerial is made by ministries rather than ministers. That's my understanding. That interministerial is made by ministries. Why so? Because those ministers immediately went to KZN. Was a Minister of Police, Cele, was a Minister of Justice, Masuta, was a Minister of State Security, Duba. The time was a Minister of Defense, Mapisa Ngagula. And then, when the elections came, and then there was a Minister of Police, and there was a Minister of Justice, who's not Masuta now, but Lamula. There was a minister later, Mdise, and there was initially there was only a deputy minister when it comes to state security, which was Zizu Kodwa, and later Nchabeni came on board. So they continued with the interministerial because these ministries were there. So interministers is ministers that move, but ministries, they stay there, and whoever is there continues. That's how I understand.
So what was the mandate of the interministerial committee?
The mandate was to go to KZN, specifically, sort the political violence, the matters that were taking place there, which were quite bad. Almost every week, a political figure was dying there. So was to go there and sort that thing, investigate, arrest, prevent, and stabilize the province. So when we went there, there was a committee, or there was some sort of a team that was provincially working there, led by General Qiliza, and then there will be Brigadier Makashalala, who is here in Western Cape now. There would be Chiga, who was a head of intelligence in KZN. We sat there as this interministerial. We were given the report. We all agreed, without taking it further, that there is a zero work on this death that is happening here. So we had then, according to the interministerial, try to start something better. So different ministers had to work on their departments. I remember that there was a big meeting of officials that was called. I can't remember, but Dr. Kulube was in defense, were there. I think the DG of Justice were there. The DG, National Commission or Provincial Commission of Correctional Service were there. Those officials, they had to go and hash the plan and report to the interministerial. How are they going to do what the interministerial, under instruction of the president, had to do?
So it was a multidisciplinary team that was going to be established.
Indeed,
from different departments.
Exactly so, exactly so. But most prominently would have been the police and prosecutors, because prosecutors had to direct the investigations. But one department that is not mentioned now and again that played a prominent role was correctional service. Why correctional service? Because people arrested, they still gave direction from prisons who to eliminate and all that. The only cutoff was to take people to Kokstad, so which is a prison where you can't communicate with anybody. So the Minister of Correctional Service had to make the way and open that most of people that are arrested under this killing must be taken there. The other thing that was requested there, these cases were delaying, so if we could get the special courts to deal with them so that they're gone through and then people are arrested and all that. So these departments were really working together, from the ministers to the top officials and down to the real team that was working down there.
General, can I just refresh your memory? Can you go to Annexure BC2, which is on page 11. It's an annexure.
Annexure.
BC2 on page 11.
BC2.
You got it?
I'm going to tell you the annexure. Oh, okay.
You see, those are described as speaker notes by the Minister of Police, Beki Cele, political killings, and it is dated the 3rd of, is that August? 3rd of August, 2018. you want
Yes,
to
yeah,
run
I-
through that? Because this would have been immediately or shortly after, no, not immediately, shortly after the establishment of the task team. So you'll see a number of very relevant aspects of the Interministerial Committee dealt with there, to refresh your memory.
Yes, I do see. And as you read down that the team comprises of 126 members led by Acting Provincial Commissioner Lieutenant Mkwanazi and Brigadier Ngwenya and Kumalo. The National Prosecuting Authority has also dedicated 16 experienced, seasoned prosecutors. So from there on, the team kicked in as the interministerial or multidisciplinary approach. So others would follow, like courts, but this one immediately kicked in.
And at the and subsequent to this, the Mkwanazi and Kumalo, they would report on a 2-yearly base, or they would report to the Interministerial Committee twice a year on progress or on what they were doing, and you would then hold a press conference, the IMC, and you were because you're the key person involved as Minister of Police, you would then address the media based on the reports you were getting from the political killings task team.
Well, there were several of these briefings. People responsible were invited to go
So
down.
if you're there, you can see. I'm referring to, go to page 16 also of the annexures,
Page 16.
annexure BC3 starts on page 15, and you can. There's a summary of the media briefings
Yes.
and your
Yes.
statements on page 16, 21 May 2018, 3 August 2018, that's the one you've just referred to, 13 September 2018, March 2019, June 2021, February 2022, 6 September 2023, and I think your last press briefing was in March. It's not here, but in March 2024, that was the last press briefing.
Well, initially, these briefings were intense because of the work starting, but as the work happens, they become a bit slowly. But the members of the IMC will go and be briefed. Mostly would be briefed by the officials of the departments having been briefed by the task team. There will be members of the task team, especially the higher echelons like Kumalo, like Gwenya, like Mkwanazi and all those, and those that would have been invited, and the prosecutors and the people from correctional service. I remember that Cele would be there. So that's how it would happen, and then there would be a media briefing. The media briefing, most of the time, it would not be Cele sitting alone. There would be other members of the task team sitting there and giving update of what has happened with the task team going down, and that last meeting would be the 5th of September 2023. But that was not the last activity. The team itself was invited, the PKTT. I saw some N on it now. I'm not sure about it. So
Minister Nkunu put the N there
Okay.
in front.
I don't know N. So they There are two things towards the end, towards the election, that this team was doing. There is a major operation that they do at Kwanongoma, where Mpangazita comes from, where in the municipality, they have arrested the municipality manager, the finance manager, and the supply chain manager. They are all arrested by this team. So I had a lady called Diaz asking...
Before you get to the
Yeah,
lady called
okay,
Diaz,
fine.
Can I please interject you?
Okay.
You referred also to the 5th of September. That's 2023. That's an important meeting, an interministerial committee meeting. Can I refer you to paragraph 47 on page 17 of your statement?
Right. But this is 17. Okay.
Because this is important in the context of Minister Mkunu's evidence or contention that the PKTT had been dissolved,
Okay.
and that it was, according to him, an illegal, unlawful structure since 2022. So just talk us through some decisions that were taken at that meeting on the 5th of September, and who was in attendance.
Well, I'm sure the whole minutes could be available. So, present in that meeting, I think it was Cele, Lamula, Matale. And Dise and the Premier of KZN apologized. So that was interministerial then. And then I think 4 resolutions, that is on the 5th of September. It was attended, it was Lamula, Matala. But if you go to resolutions,
Yeah.
47.1, the first resolution was that Minister Lamula would engage the NPA on the matter of dedicated courts for political killings, which means there are activities of this committee that are still going on, have not been accomplished. One of them is this court issue. The second one is, the second resolution was the Minister Lamula was to deal with the issue of transfer of prisons to Koksat prison. There was a problem there. They will be transferred, and unknowingly to the team and the investigating officer, somebody will take them back to where they come from and continue with their activities. So the minister had to deal with this, that those that are taken to Koksat, they stay in Koksat. Fourth one was that, third one, resolution was the success of the PKTT would be communicated in the media briefing to be held on behalf of the IMC. The media briefing eventually took place on the 6th, 2023. Obvious. 4, the final resolution was that the PKTT could not dissolve and that it must continue. That is the 5th September 2023 decision taken by the interministerial.
Okay. So, what is your response to Minister Mkunu saying that the PKTT was disestablished?
By who?
Already since 2022.
Disestablished by who?
Well, it's not quite clear what he's saying, who said so. I think we have asked him, I think honourable members of the committee asked him, and that it's an illegal structure.
The President instructs the ministries. The ministers go there. The ministers call their relevant top officials of the department to bring all components together. They come together. The team is formed. The team starts the work, and we'll agree. Maybe you are not going on details of the success and all that. It continues up to the end of the 5th administration. Comes the 6th administration, it continues. And these interministerials, as these ministers, the new under the ministries, they are there. And it goes for election 2024. This is there. I don't remember anywhere as the chair and those that we're working with talking about dismantling this team at all. What I would also remember is that, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, on the 7th of March, 2024, the same team went to brief the president about the activities that they were doing in Fort Hare, since it was requested by the president to look at the matters of, we can come how it came about on that one. So this is now March 2024. We're going for election March, May. So this team is still active. I don't remember anywhere as a person that was almost involved at all in the understanding of activities. I don't remember the team being disbanded until I saw the letter that was written on the 21st December.
The 31st of December.
31st of December, when we're drinking and dancing.
Now, your view is captured at paragraph 49 on page 18.
Paragraph 49.
Yeah, on page 18 of your statement.
Okay. Yes, it is there. That's how.
You
that's how I
want
look at
you want to read that into the record?
In my view, PKTT was established by the IMC under the leadership of the President, and therefore only the IMC could disestablish it. I have heard in these proceedings the submission that no IMC had been established under the 7th administration. I submit that this argument is incorrect. The IMC consists of ministries that form the multidisciplinary team, not the political incumbents, the ministers, who may change with each administration. The IMC, therefore, continued to exist even under the 7th administration. The Minister of Police, therefore, had to consult with the IMC that had established the PKTT before deciding to disband it. Any disestablishment of PKTT would also have to be done in consultation with the departments that form part of the steering committee of the IMC that had oversight over the PKTT. I can add to say there is also a JCPS cluster. If maybe it's not very clear with the with the existence, JCPS cluster, which Minister of Justice and Minister of Police are co-chairs. It could have been discussed there. Maybe if really it doesn't, it could have been, the clearance could have been sought from the President that there is this, what do I do, does it exist or not? But you cannot just one swallow that makes summer here. Which is a Minister of Police that does not take on board the rest of everybody that is there to talk about this thing. I'm not going to make a conclusion whether it's illegal. I'm not a lawyer, but procedurally, I do not agree with it. The way that it has come through, it should have reversed the same way back. That will be my argument.
We're going to go now to the Minister's Directive of 31 December. But just to round off on whether or not the PKTT is still in existence, you recall having I'm not sure whether you call it a discussion or just out of interest, that you spoke recently with the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, and on her, as it were, job description, the PKTT was still one of the functions allocated to her as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development.
Well, as you minister, you join, I think your officials will take you through. And it starts with maybe the handover from your predecessor. The time is short. It took me 2 hours with my successor. So there is a lot of things. But then you go to the officials of the department, and then they'll tell you the duties. It does, hearing from Minister Kubai, it still does come through as one of her jobs to be part of the IMC on this one. That would be my latest information.
Yeah. The directive of the 31st of December 2024, you'll find it next to your statement as Annexure BC4 on pages 49 to 50. Have you got it there, General?
Yeah, I have it. Thanks.
When did you first see or hear of or were told about this directive, and what was your reaction, your response?
Chairperson, there is a funny chain here. I don't know how I got in the group of Michelle. I'm in that group.
A WhatsApp group.
It's WhatsApp group.
You be careful of these WhatsApps.
I never write, but most of these things come from that Marshall thing.
Who's all on that group?
Marshall and his husband and her husband,
Yeah.
Morgan. So those are expensive, but there are other ones. I think it's Huela, and then there are people that they correspond with. There is hashtag Minister of Police. There is hashtag Adams, I think is a member of Parliament. There was a hashtag chair of Portfolio Committee. I don't know if he's still there, but he was also corresponding very closely with the Machel. So this Machel, so you get these things, but because I don't write, I don't say anything and all that, I don't think they are aware that I'm there and reading these things. Some of them are big about me personally, that how criminal I am. So, but I don't ask anybody. I sit and I look how criminal I am. So keep quiet. But Bashir, you know, we'll come to that later. That was written by Meriti Haas, writing National Commissioner on the 22nd of January, asking him, why have you not implemented the instruction of the minister? This is Diaz writing National Commissioner. And that letter, I think it was 12 hours, that it was also on Machel. But Machel is quite big. So I received these things from Machel. I hope they won't disestablish me now out of... they
Not-
won't
not
remove
immediately
me
anyway.
out of, because it provides a good information, what's the thinking about this hashtag minister, him, and they also pray and all this. Sometimes they speak a lot of Sotho, so then I'll have a problem, but when they speak English and all that. Chair, so when I saw this letter, I said, but this can't be. This can be. There are three elements there, which is a border issues, no much discussions. One can come on that if it needs be. There is a crime intelligence, which had no discussions much about it. One can come on that, which can be. The real one that has taken the center stage is a PKTT. So when I looked at the letter, I said, but this can't be. The letter opens 3 political task killing. The first word is in 2019, which is wrong. In 2019, that is wrong. A directive was made to the National Commission of Police following Morano Commission. That is wrong. There is no direction made to the national. The direction was made to the interministerial. That then invited other people. And it was not after Morane. It was after the president has made an announcement in Maritzburg. Later it came to Parliament, but earlier has made that standing on a white hippo, saying these ministries must go there. So this Morane can't be correct. Then they say it's flowing from there. The interministerial task force be established, and it's not the force; it's the interministerial committee. The key mandate was correct: stop, investigate, resolve unresolved matters, which is a stabilization of the situation. That one is correct. My observation in this regard, which should not be the individual observation, it should be the observation of the committee, I guess. Is that further existence of this team is no longer required, nor is it adding any value of policing in South Africa. I therefore direct that the political task team be disestablished immediately. Further, that a preliminary report in this regard be submitted to the minister by the 20th. Observing it, if it were me, I would have said, give me the report on the 20th of this task team. And armed with the report, then I would know what decision I'm taking. But to dismantle, and when the report, what is the report for now? Because the decision is taken. But it goes on to say, this is 20th of January. The final and closing report must be submitted to the Ministry Management Executive Committee meeting in January 2025, the date of which will be communicated as soon as possible. It does look like there is an issue with this January. Well, the letter is written few hours before January. Yes, it's December, but it's 5. We are just to come to January. The letter is written, and then give report 20th January. I don't know if the letter did come, the report, but 22nd of January, Mary Diaz writes the letter to the National Commissioner, and Moses, asking him,
Sorry.
have you done
General,
what...
sorry, Honourable Chair, can I just point out to honourable members that there is a small, sorry, there's a little bundle with 2 documents attached. The Mary Diaz letter of 22 January 2025, page 1 to 2, and then there's an article on political killings, political interference, which is also which is written by a Christine, but quotes extensively Professor De Haas. Have you got that, General? That's the letter you're referring to.
Yes, I do have that letter. I do have that letter. National Commission Staff Lieutenant General Masimula pre-email good. That is 22nd January 2025. The headline says, your failure to follow ministerial instruction and disband the political killing team is impacting negatively on the crucial policing work in KwaZulu-Natal. So that is a letter which I think paragraph 3 says, according to a report I have just received, I don't know you received this report from who, Mary Diaz, from concerned police or from concerned members, detectives in KZN cannot take exhibits to Pretoria laboratory because there are no funds to travel, the funds allegedly having been diverted to the political killing team, leaving crucial evidence, e.g. drugs, firearm, DNA, and cell phones in the province contaminated. 4, in other words, if these allegations are true, the Provincial Commission KZN is complicit in ignoring instructions given by the Minister and obstructing regular policing activities in KwaZulu-Natal. Please investigate and report to the Minister and Parliament immediately. Immediately.
So you were saying, you were somehow suggesting that there's a whole confluence, a whole getting together of factors in January 2025, immediately, shortly after the directive of 31 December 2025, which you found quite...
It does look like there was something about January. Yeah. I don't know what is it. But my take with all this process, Chairperson, it starts with Mary writing the letter on October. And I found some similarities of the content of the letter, because this immediately is also there in that letter.
That letter is on pages 51 through to 58.
That is October. So then there is a discussion of a certain stain on his written opinion piece, if it is opinion piece. Very excited to say the minister or the professor has instructed the national commissioner to disband. And 31st January happens, 21st December happens. And January, Mary, who wrote in October, comes back now, not to the minister now, to the national commissioner. The report must come on the 20th. Mary is very close to understanding whether the report has come on the 20th. But 22nd, we are bad. She's asking if that has been done. So it's my take, my genesis of my problem with this is Mary having played quite a big role. I must admit, the Kwana's allegation at the later stage of cartels and all that, I don't understand that much until I hear from Kwanas and what is happening. But my take is that I've seen Mary driving this process of disestablishment of this. I don't know what is her interest. Maybe it does link with the later one. I don't know. So people can check. But also, I find that January has something to do with the disestablishment. Okay. That's my take on this process, SC.
Yeah, but, we also see that in a subsequent letter, she makes those suggestions about minutes. Is it here? In fact, we also, I think I've flagged it. Excuse me, Minister. It, it's the same, if you go to page 60, go to BC 7, General. Which is on page 65.
Page 65.
To 70.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Where she makes, if you go to the bottom, well, the document which appeared in the KZN Monitor, it starts off with reference to the 31 December 2024 Minister Mkunu's directive, and then she says a few lines in, it seems though that the ministerial instructions are not being followed, as certain apparently specifically selected members have not been redeployed to the units from which they were seconded, and that at least one new case has been opened by one of these members. Information has been forwarded to the Minister's office. So it seems as if she's privy to information that's been forwarded to the Minister's office. Then
Yes, well,
in the last paragraph, she said there was no good reason for establishing this team in the first place. You see that? And then on page 66, the second paragraph, contrary to constitutional principles of transparency and accountability in government, questions about the structure and command of the team have never been answered. Would you agree with that statement?
which one is that, yes?
So,
Which
General,
statement is that?
at page 66, the second paragraph, the first few lines, where she says that questions about the structure and command of the team have never been answered.
Yes, I do
And
see
then she refers to you. She says, when soon after it started operating, questions were posed to team members about who was in charge. The response was that it was then Minister Cele. When the Police Portfolio Committee was asked about it, the late Jumat Peterson claimed not to know about what was happening. However, she agreed that the minister should not be operational. Despite ongoing complaints, no interventions to remedy matters followed. When the team was initially established, a detective was in charge, but even at that stage, members were coming and going. When the detective retired, then Brigadier Kumalo was put in charge by Cele.
Well, I met Kumalo when the team was established,
2018.
2018. I didn't know him before that. He's one. He was a brigadier. Very few. I think Mkwanas was a brigadier, and among the brigadiers, I would know him and maybe those that were in communication. But brigadiers are quite far to know them all. So Khumalo, I didn't know him. That's the first one. The second one, SC. Ministers of police are just unlucky. They appoint nobody. They appoint nobody. Even the national commissioners, they don't appoint them. The president does. And then the commissioners appoint the structure as per the constitution of command and control. So there is no minister. If I have any...
We discussed this, but in terms of the Police Act, the minister appoints the head of the Hawks.
Yeah, that's the only person,
But
according
no
to the
other
law.
appointments
is
you
the
say
only
are
person
made by
that
the
you
minister.
appoint, yes. So that the Hawks. But when it comes to the South African Police Service and all that, that is the... So Cele could not then have been appointed Khumalo. Even if Cele wanted to appoint Khumalo, had to explain to the rest of the ministers that were part of the interministerial, what is this? So the issue of Khumalo, knowing him, whether it's investigator, whether it's in crime situation or crime intelligence, really I wouldn't know. This is a researcher talking. So she can't just research that ministers don't appoint an accomplished researcher. She can't research that and know that ministers don't appoint when it comes to police. So the chairperson, there is even the issue of DTGs. I explained who lieutenant generals are. They are DTGs. In government, DTGs are appointed by cabinet. So DTGs, you motivate, you interview, and you submit to cabinet, and the cabinet agrees or disagrees, but not with the police. The commissioner announces in the morning that you are now Lieutenant Colonel. So you are Lieutenant General. And I think when I was a national commissioner and became the minister, I raised it to say I find it far-reaching that a single person can appoint a DTG. DTG is very senior. So if he's appointed by you alone, really he will save his job by respecting you and not doing his job. I think it's even unfair to the DTGs to be appointed in that simplest way and all that kind of thing. Maybe it is on that score that my predecessor, Sambalula, came with the regulations that commissioner can appoint at the level from Major General in concurrence with the ministers. So that came because there would be many generals around here that you don't know when they came about and all that. But this concurrence does not then stop the commissioner, which is his constitutional and legislative prerogative to continue and do it. So, Cele coming to appointing Khumalo when he can't even appoint Masimula, a researcher must know that, especially if it is an accomplished
She claims
researcher.
that you appointed Khumalo also as the head of SAP's crime intelligence in 2022. And she questions how he could be the head of intelligence, crime intelligence, and also the head of the task team.
As I've said, that maybe that could be answered by a person who appoints those people, which happens to be a national commissioner.
Okay. Now, what is also, because I suppose at this stage you can only suspect that Professor De Haas has some or other role to play in the ministerial directive of 31 December. But what is also quite interesting is that yesterday, when the Minister Mkhunu, concluded his evidence, he made two recommendations to this honourable committee. One of them is that the three oversight bodies currently in place at as part of the overall security apparatus, IPID, IDEC, DPCI, that these bodies should all be merged.
What paragraph is that?
Yeah, I'm just paraphrasing, but you'll find it at page 52, which is in her letter of 31 October 2024. This is one of those letters which the minister says informed, amongst other things, not everything, there's a whole range of things, but this is one of the letters that informed his decision of 31 December. But here she says, if it were feasible, it would be to establish an ombuds oversight body headed by a retired judge of integrity and extensive experience in the field of criminal and policing matters. So that's the one, and then the other recommendation you'll find in her piece in the KZN Monitor on page 69 and 70, that where she says on page 69 at the bottom, the dismantlement of this task team has been long overdue, but the continuing irregular activities, ignoring a legitimate ministerial instruction, require sanctions to be brought against its leadership. The next step must also include a full audit of the expenses, including whether they are being met from provincial budgets or even from crime intelligence services, which Khumalo also heads. So that would you also find that interesting? That there seems to be a correlation between what she contends, claims in her writings, and decisions taken by Minister Mkhunu.
But further reading there says Parliament, the Minister and the Auditor General
Yes.
must demand full financial accountability for all the money which has been
Yeah,
spent
she
on
demanded
the
that the
task team.
Auditor General do a full
I think
audit.
those were last recommendations made yesterday. They tally with what is coming from what Mary Dihas is saying.
Yeah. Did you speak to Minister Mkhunu about his directive of 31 December 2024?
Well, I had the comfort of handing over to Minister Mkhunu. I think we spent about 2 hours at Baghuis. As I left the office, I said, I'm a phone away. This could be a difficult environment, I must say. That environment is difficult and energy sapping to be a Minister of Police.
Energy sapping.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's energy sapping. It's one of the most difficult jobs to be a Minister of Police. So I said, you pick up and you talk. Well, that did not happen. I don't think I've ever received the call until I see these things, and I approach him somewhere in January in one of the meetings to say, I see these letters from Auntie Mary. Can we talk about it so that we see how they go? Because my main fear was a wrong genesis of the letter he has written. That the genesis of the letter was wrong. There is no morale here and all that kind of thing. There is no 2019. So maybe if the better information comes, and I don't think I was entertained. I was told that the process is going to continue and no stoppage. And I think the 13th in Kailisha, I went to the president. I said, Mr. President, can you pull us together with Minister Mkhono, maybe yourself or just two of us, to take one through on the matters.
That was on January 8th?
Yeah, but January 8th was
When
on
you
January
met with the
13th.
president?
It was on 13th, not 8th. And then there was no comfort in trying to have that communication. So, indeed, then we did not talk about the matter.
Okay, Senior Counsel, may we afford Honorable Malema a chance?
Chair, I was asking if someone has got a picture of Mary Dihase to put it there. Auntie Mary.
Mbangazita, do you want to respond to?
Yes, Honorable Chairperson. I was actually saying that I've got her picture on my phone, and I can volunteer to actually share it with him.
No, the indication I
Page
get is
59,
that
page 59.
the honorable member will assist the legal team to have the picture. After break, we will have it. Thank you so much.
It's not for me. I'm saying you must flight her there so the society can see this person. And Honorable Bredenbach says Google. She assumes every South African has got Google, access to Google and data.
No, we, SC,
May I continue? Sorry.
when we break, Mbangazita will help you to get that picture and before when we resume the proceedings after break, we will flight it there.
It is in the pack, Honorable Chair.
It's in the pack.
Page 59.
Yeah, but the statement which is being made is that this parliament is for the people of South Africa. It's not for us who are sitting here.
May I continue, Honorable Chair? Sorry, Minister. So you met with the minister that sometime in January also?
Yes, we're in the same meeting, but
And January the 8th, you also raised this with the president. Just tell us a bit more about your discussions with the president, or was it even a discussion?
no, absolutely not a discussion, because we're just busy. I said, Mr. President, can you help? I need to speak to the minister about the political task team. If you could organize the meeting, the three of us or him and me, because I've tried, I failed. So that was the end. But I never discussed anything with the president on that matter. It was a request if the meeting could be facilitated.
Now, clearly, when you heard or saw the directive, you were not in favor, or put another way, you were opposed to the disestablishment of the task team.
Two main things that would have made me opposed to it. The procedures of it, how it came about, for me it had to reverse that way. That's the first one. The second one, Chair, the letter says there's no value and has achieved nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the letter per se, but it's in the contents of Mary that has achieved nothing. He even accused that it was not supposed to be there. He should have taken President to court for it not to be there. But that it has no value and all, I would not agree. Chairperson, in that province, Pangasita would know. I'm not going to talk about him and me. But in that province, things do flare up now and again. The mandate of this team is to investigate, arrest those people, and create stability. So here they say its work either is done and all that. It's not done. There are cases there. One of the biggest cases that the team is dealing is Nongoma, where the manager, the finance CFO, and the supply chain, they are arrested. Their arrest, as Mary argues that they are not supposed to, their arrest comes from the matter of Councillor Mkhunu, a 75-year-old. I don't know what's wrong with Councillor Mkhunu because President announced on Councillor Mkhunu. So there's a 75-year-old Councillor Mkhunu that was killed at Nongoma of the NFP. And then when the investigation was done, it was found that the man was paid through the structures of municipality to Ingabi, to the hitman. That's why they are arrested. So that case is still under investigation. Those people are going to go in court. If you disband with immediate, what happens to those cases and all that kind of thing? And the further investigation. Secondly, this team must create stability. Chairperson, through you to this, half of eThekwini councillors are guarded. Those that come from eThekwini would know, are given protection because they fear to be killed. Mostly there would be ANC and IFP. They are still under guard. Municipality pays extra money, pays extra cars for them, pays extra SMT, pays overtime for those police. So this stability, for me, is not there. I don't know in other places, but councillors are still under guard. So which means, while a lot of work has been done, but the mission has not been accomplished, maybe I must say so, because there is this argument that there is a time bound for this KTT. I agree. But task teams and operations are based on two things: on timeline and the accomplishment of the mission. It's not because it's a timeline, so we say 6 months, and 5.5 down the line, people, they shoot each other. They said, yeah, guys, we said we stay 6, we are going. No. If the accomplishment of the mission comes early, yes, we can even go earlier. But if it doesn't, those that have authority to extend, which I guess the National Commission would do, it will be so. For me, it can't be measured with the situation that is one councillor. To me, it's a very costly measure to say because one councillor has just been killed of late, it can go. It is. There should be stability to say we are sure now that everybody that is causing trouble we have dealt with. Kwanongoma, there was a time when all councillors of all organizations were sleeping at Richards Bay. When the night falls, they get in a bus or taxi, they go, it's 116 kilometers away. They go and sleep there. What stabilized them to come back? There are two things. Those people who were arrested. So there's stability to Nongoma. But is that stability all over the province? No. It's not all over the province. As I'm saying, that people are guarded at Teguin and at a big expense, the councillors. 2 months ago, when I passed at Kwamash Hostel, the councillor there, Gwala, was escorted by the police, people chasing him literally. He's an IFP councillor chased by IFP people. So don't tell me that there is a stability that you can come. So when all those people are removed for me, then that will be established. Then the mission will be accomplished. What happens if you withdraw them and then there's a flare up again? You go and constitute them and all that kind of. So I don't agree with having no value and mission having been accomplished.
So without wanting to put words in your mouth, you seem to say that one shouldn't just evaluate or analyze the successes or otherwise of the PKTT in terms of the number of arrests, the number of prosecutions, and how many years people were sentenced to jail. But where there is a period of relative calm, it could, or in your view, that's also due to the continued presence of the task team.
But the letter itself does say the key mandate was to stop, investigate, resolve the unresolved. Resolve the unresolved, which means it is understood for the fact that people are still guarded, for the fact that an investigation in some municipalities, there are cases that are unresolved that need to be followed and resolved. Even the letter understands. So why do you then stop when the mission has not been accomplished?
What about one of the minister's reasons or arguments also that all South Africans, all of us, deserve and are entitled to protection and to be safe, and not only a selected province or a selected group of people, like in this case, politicians, mostly councillors, but he points, for example, to murders here on the Cape Flats, as you well know, and in other parts of the country now, Westbury, other parts that we read about almost daily. And for that reason, it's not just or equitable to just have a political task team that's focused on one province and one category of persons.
Chairperson, is like saying you have a bread. Instead of buying the bread for those that don't have a bread, you take the bread from the ones that you all go hungry. Instead of buying the bread for those that they don't have the bread. I fully agree. We're all equal. But maybe the books that we have not equality does silently apply sometimes. Some are more equal than others. Chair, it's not true that it's only just him that takes money. From 2021, there's Operation Mkodwemvubu. That is Kwamhlabeyalingana, the cross-border crimes. In Cape Town, there is a Operation Thunder / Operation Lockdown, which takes, I don't have figures, but I would suspect that Cape Town one might be even taken more. When is my suspicion? For instance, if you bring 200 police from other provinces and they stay here at the cost of 800 rand a night, and then they go back and they bring the other lot, And they come with the cars. They don't just come alone. They come with the cars from those provinces and they will get over time the allowance that they're not at home. I think is a lot of money. So for me, then, it could not be the question of money. It should be then the question of safety of those people. To say only one councillor has been killed so it can withdraw, I hope people they're not going to say is sour grapes. So there is no minister has been shot, so withdraw the PSS. Because not one has been shot there. If your measurement is one dying, why don't you withdraw those that nobody has died? So maybe it's a sour grapes because I'm not there, I don't have the PSS. But I'm trying to show that that can't be the measurement, so that only one person died, so now you can withdraw. When you have expensive unit called PSS that is guarding safe people, and nobody talks about that. So for me, if you have the center of excellence, your effort is to expand it rather than go and kill the where you have established excellence. That would be my argument.
Honorable Sangwe.
Much, Chairperson. No, I just need clarity on this example that Minister Mkhunu is making. So he's saying because no minister has been shot, we should withdraw VIP protection for ministers. Is that the example that you are making, Minister?
No, Chairperson, I hope it's not sour grapes. I want to make this disclaimer. I'm saying, if the measurement is that we withdraw the focus in dealing with this violence because only one person has died, we can also withdraw where there is nobody that has died. There is no minister that has been killed. So withdraw from those that are not dying and leave a little bit for those that are still dying. That's what I'm saying. It's hypothetical, but that's what I'm saying.
Do
Sour grapes, I
you
know.
want to make a follow-up, Honorable Sangwe? No, it's well said, General. SC?
Thank you.
Let's proceed.
Thank-
Proceed immediately.
Yes, sir. General Cele, is there anything else you want to comment on the directive before we move on to another topic?
Chairperson, I don't want to be unfair to Minister Mkhunu to say it's cut and dry that you can't make suggestions. But for me, it would have been more relevant to sit down with the National Commissioner and say, that's how I see things. Just to get some outside influence with a very tough language to say, you instruct. Ministers don't instruct national commissioners. We can sit down and put my ideas and say, but Minister, it is not so. Operationally, there is 1, 2, 3. I said, well, I didn't see that angle. That was a blind spot to me. But 1, 2, 3, that's how I see. So I think, Chairperson, they are quite. Let's take this PT without N. So let's take it and you say how it came about, but further discussions. So we go to the funeral at Kwamhlabeyalingana of Judah, who was killed there, on a very, very angry funeral. They say, you go and fix this thing. So is the people there, sitting there. And the Minister of Police they say we are not going to talk here. Finally, they say talk and talk what we are going to understand. Tell us how we're going to fix this thing. Minister of Police did not go and open Operation Mkotwemvubu. He went to the National Commissioner and said, we have a problem there. How can we deal with those matters? National Commissioner has a right to say, this is my way. So he needs to operationalize it. But I can't come and say, General Kumalo, as I see now, we go with. Even the commissioner, that maybe our relationship of working was not all not that warm, General is told. When the Senzo matter was done, it was General Stoll who came with the idea and the people of the cold cases. It was not minister. So for me, it does need a better work. You don't have to be friends with the National Commission. You don't have to be friends. But it does need, otherwise you end up being unconstitutional, breaking the legislation and all that kind of thing. So for me, that would help next time, that all ministers and national commissioners don't be friends, or don't be friends, drink together and all that. But remember, we are here to work together. For me, that would help.
Just good old-fashioned consultation, conversation, discussion, interaction to find a solution to a problem.
And the legislative space and constitutional space.
To be respected.
Yeah, to be respected. That maybe will come, because there was a discussion here of the devolution of powers. I thought for some reason the committee put the provincial commissioner on a political arena. For me, that was a hell of a political arena for the provincial commissioner. The constitution is very clear, says the police will investigate, combat, uphold, and enforce the law. The constitution doesn't come close of rearrangement of the constitution by the officers. I think the national commissioner there was put in a wrong arena. Unfortunately, the arena that he was put on is an ideology of some political parties. So I could see pushing him to push their ideology. I really sympathize with him.
Just briefly, what was your relationship with General Satole initially when he was the National Commissioner, and then subsequently General Masemola, who is the current Commissioner?
General Satole, we were really working, but I don't think we were warm. General Satole was appointed a month before the election of the ANC National Conference. So there was this thing of appointing a month before this happened. Mdluli was appointed a month before the National Commission comes in. Stoll was appointed a month before we're going for elections, which you know that will be there for a year, but you appoint a person for the next 5 years. So maybe there was that. But as we came, there was a big issue of Stoll of illegally purchasing of a grabber, which looks like him and Minister Mbalule, they have agreed to purchase the grabber. The grabber is a listening device to you here. And unfortunately, it was used to me, the grabber, whatever the grabber was. But it was used. I was illegally listened by my police, led by Mdluli, from December to March 2010 to 2011. So I was listened. So it's something that happens. It's supposed to be, By the way, maybe that is another legislative that legislators will have to look at. If they want to get this 205 to listen because there is a project, what police do, they take a batch of the people they want to listen to the judge, and the judge grants the permission of the badge. But in the badge, they can put the name of anybody. That's how they did with me. They put Jabulani Mdlalose, and they put the number of Cele. So the judge approves the badge. The judge should approve the individual. I think the law must say so that we know that this is not abused to listen people that are not supposed to be listened. So that is a legislative maybe, because I think in the things that is supposed to happen, people will have to look at the legislative matters. The other one, before I forget, it's a law of intelligence. Chairperson, that law, I think it rests with justice. It's such cumbersome law. If the Minister of Police wants to, in his or her department, buy the equipment to work on the devices of working for information, he needs to approach the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice needs to invite the Minister of State Security and the Minister of Defense. And as they agree, they invite the Minister of Communication. If one minister says no, that can't work. I find it very cumbersome. That's what happened July 21. That's what happened. That the devices that were there could not be used because one minister said no to stop the spread of July 21. So I find it a very cumbersome law. So I agree that you can't have agencies that monitor people without any kind of monitoring. Maybe only the Minister of Justice rather than Minister of Communication and all that. So it's one law that I think as the members of the legislators, they go forward, they can look at it.
Okay. How was General Masemola appointed? And did you have any role to play or hand in his appointment?
Well, appointing the national commissioners is a prerogative of the president, but I think something happened with Masemola. President put some panel to appoint Masemola. And if I'm not mistaken, 4 generals were interviewed. That will be General Kwena from Northwest, General Masemola, General Vuma, and General was a provincial commissioner, Gauteng, Mawela. So that panel was chaired by Professor Mafumadi, Sydney, and then was Minister of Police on it, Cele. There was Minister of Education, Motsecha. There was DG from Finance. There was DG from Presidents. And there was a former National Commissioner of the South African Police, 5 That is a panel that interviewed and they made the recommendation to the President about the employment of Masemola.
Okay. And your relationship with General Masemola?
Well, absolutely not friends. I don't even know whether he drinks or he doesn't. I don't drink alcohol. So with friends, you would know. I don't know his house and all that. But our working relationship is quite cordial. It's cordial.
On many on many occasions, especially in the media, but it's just for your comment. You've been accused of political interference with the operations of the police, even directing the operations of the police. What do you say to such allegations?
Well, I've heard that, but I've seen it written by Mary. I've seen it written. I think, I don't know, but there is a document where he writes to Parliament. When she writes to Parliament because of her fear.
Yes, I'm not sure whether it's the same, but she did file a ministerial, or rather a complaint to the Portfolio Committee.
Yeah, she wrote to Portfolio
But
Committee.
I think you're referring also to Annexure BC 6 on page 59.
Page 59.
There's a handsome couple on that page.
There is a picture of
You and
Cele
Mr. Haas.
and Mary Diaz there, eyeball to eyeball.
Yeah, this is the this is a reference to the letter she wrote to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee, as well as to the Speaker.
This one looks like is an article
Yeah, but it references
based
the complaint to
written
the...
by Stein based on the submission made by Mary to Parliament.
Yes.
She tells Parliament that Cele is also known to have dangerous friends, including in the tax mafia industry in KZN, which is the main home of hitmen. That's how she describes Cele. There is one thing that I agree with him, that there are many Zinkabi in that province. No, I wouldn't. But he says, I'm a friend of them, and she's scared of me because of, that's what she says, I'm putting on record publicly with Parliament that I believe that if what I am told by police members is incorrect, Mr. Cele Beki is endangering my personal safety. Several weeks ago, there were media reports that Mr. Cele had been telling police members that they should not give information to the media and academics. So, talks about inflammatory statements and all that kind of thing. Professor Diaz reminds Parliament that she had been monitoring and researching policing for 30 years, during which time I have consistently stood up for the rights of good police members, including the trust, and even managed to raise funds for legal assistance. She points out that her work continues to present, although I have not been able to be paid for that. Professor notes that she also needs to interact with police. This is written about Cele. By the way, he has issue with Cele in Khumalo. So she also writes a lot about Khumalo. She adds that reports on the police brutality
Honorable Ngola.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think General Cele must either confirm or deny the allegation that he has got dangerous friends, so that we're able to beef up our security as well. Thank you.
That he has, what, dangerous what?
Chair, the General is reading an article or a letter or whatever that accuses him of having dangerous friends, So he must confirm or deny the allegation so that we know if there is a need as the committee to beef up our security detail as well. Thank you.
Did you hear that, General?
Well, Chairperson, it's direct to say I have dangerous friends in taxi mafia. So I don't have taxis. So I don't know what would put me in the taxi mafias and taxi industry if I don't have taxis. So those dangerous friends maybe are known by.
So General, she, in summary, at the bottom of page 61, she says, as for the police minister's attitude towards her, she writes, it seems that Minister Cele takes exception to my exposing the fact that his conduct is unconstitutional and illegal.
Well, Mary Diaz is an anthropologist, not a judge, to find me guilty. If it is unconstitutional and illegal, she must take me to court and be found by court to be illegal and constitutional, and must strengthen her weapons of research as an anthropologist. And don't do this. I don't think I've done anything illegal and unconstitutional, as she said.
She claims also on page 62, your allies in the police include apartheid-era police and agents, some of whom used state funds to order the assassination of Sindiso Makaka. Some CIS members have been implicated in the attempt to kill Tabiso Zulu, who Cele refused to protect. Others have been used at Cele's direction to try and track down Patricia Mashale. Cele is also known to have dangerous friends, including in the taxi mafia industry in KZN, which is the main home of hitmen. This is the environment in which I live and move around. So she says she's putting all this on record to Parliament and to the public, as I want Minister Cele held accountable for further endangering his life by his reported inflammatory utterances. This was to the Portfolio Committee. Just your comment.
Well, I don't know. It would have been nice if Portfolio had called me. But I don't remember called by Portfolio on this matter. I guess that would be the sixth. That would be the sixth administration Portfolio, because she talks of Jumati as a chair. May her soul rest in peace. So I don't. But it would have been nice, really, to come and explain, because I guess they would have called both of us. Mary and Cele, to how to endanger. She speaks of Tabiso and Mashale. I have no time to talk about Mashale.
You are in a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I know all what she thinks. Yeah. I can speak about Tabiso. Tabiso is a close friend, or was a close friend of Makaka, Sindiso, the former ANC secretary that was murdered. The case is in Maritzburg, and somebody has just been sentenced there. So on that case, I was taken to public protector, Advocate Mkwebana, for refusing to protect Tabiso. Tabiso was a witness. So everybody knows that witnesses are protected by justice, not by South African Police Service. So I was found guilty by Mkwebana advocate, that I have refused to protect Thabiso. So I took that to review. It was reversed. It was reversed to say, but Minister of Police could not have been part of that. You should have taken Minister of Justice. Thabiso, we did speak to him that he must go to the witness protection program. He refused. He said he wants bodyguards that will take him around and all that kind of stuff. And Mary Diaz is so close, but Mary Diaz has never revealed that Thabiso was found guilty by the court of law for the abuse of a woman. But he protects him without reservation when he has been found by the court of law of the sexual abuse. I don't know what kind of it, but that is there. So there is this double standards of Mary Diaz dealing with all of us. So for me, that would be the issue. To say I am in the taxi industry and all, there is, I think in the letter says I'm a populist, a dangerous populist, that put inflammatory state and all. Really, I don't remember, and I don't have time to go to the public platform talking about Mary. You won't give me any votes. She won't. I can talk about Onomvalo and other people, so the public platform, but I can't talk about Mary really. To whip inflammatory statement and all that kind of. I just don't know. But if you follow all her writings, they're basically about Cele and Kumalo. Cele from Kumalo. So when it comes to the apartheid, police, she must show me who is not in the apartheid police. You must show me who is not. I heard the CIC, Honorable Malema, saying Tumkwanazi is a carrier police. Yes, he's an apartheid carrier police. He's not just a police. He's an apartheid carrier police. All those police were created not necessarily crime issues, were created to make sure that black men don't survive. No doubt about that. So whether they were South African police, whether they were Venda, whether they were Putatswana, whether they were Siskai, whether they were KwaZulu police, and many of us were killed by KwaZulu police there. Whether it was Siabuswa, where Stole comes from, was a Kenelet, Siabuswa, Bantustan. So they were never created to create a safe space for South Africans, especially black South Africans. They will create space to close this. They were created to close the space that they don't breathe. By the way, deviating a little bit, I was looking at the crime stats. Crime stats were started in '96 to be announced in South Africa. There was no announcement of crime stats before then, and there were 27,000 murders. Only God knows how many were there before that. How many were there? They were not registered. Especially the death of black men in South Africa was never registered. So don't tell me about apartheid police as if they were gracious police. They were all apartheid in Bantustans. The only thing, they are human beings, they're dynamic. We have learned to work together thereafter. Wherever they come. And many of them, I must assure you, they are good police that have adapted in the new dispensation. But there are those that they have adapted and become criminals. There are those that they miss their old stations in the Bantustans and all that kind of thing. So Mary must not come to me and teach me about the Bantustan police. I know them better, what they did to me and to us, those apartheid police. Police. And I used to report to her, Mary, when I was abused, yes, and the professor, together with Professor Zulu. monitoring in university. I don't know what happened to him to find me in Kabi now. When I was chased by the police as an activist, I used to report to her that I was chased. So must not talk about apartheid police. We know better what apartheid police are.
Okay. So if we can just move on to another topic, General. Do you know Brown Mokgotsi? Have you met him?
No, I don't know Brian Mokgotsi.
Not even as a comrade?
No, I've just known him of late because he's quite big on media. I think he's the biggest person on media at the present moment.
You never met him in person?
No. I haven't met Brian Mokgotsi.
He's not on your WhatsApp?
My WhatsApp?
Yeah.
No. Brian Mokgotsi is not there. I've seen him and talking how he. When I had the name Mokgotsi, that he is close to the minister, the spokesperson for the minister is Mokgotsi, but is a lady. So I have
The
always
spokesperson for
the minister
Minister Nkulu
Nkulu, yeah, is
is
Mokgotsi.
Mokgotsi.
Yes. So, but
Just one moment. Honorable Malema.
Minister, do you have a WhatsApp?
yes, I do.
Okay, thanks.
I do have a WhatsApp that I read and never write on it. Not once in life I've written either WhatsApp or any text message. With all my years with my wife, she has never received a text message from me. Not once. She said I must not say that. So with my PA that I've worked almost 20 years, Sharon, she has never received. With Mkwanazi, whom I have a lot of written messages from him, he has never received one from me. By the way, including because I saw the war between Mkwanazi and Sibia about the question of AKA that Mkwanazi did not want to report to me. But a person who reported to me the matter of AKA was Mkwanazi, who sent me the message at about 11:30 at night. So that's why it was funny for me that he does not report to politicians when they were fighting with this SBA, when he is done. But himself, he can't show nobody, Honorable Malema, in the Republic of South Africa that can show you a written message that comes from Cele.
Yeah, no, honorable members, the secretary of our committee is showing me a list of unanswered WhatsApp text to General Cele. Honorable Shogwe.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to ask, what is there a relationship between the two Mokgotsis, the spokesperson and the other Mokgotsi? Thank you.
No, I don't know. I have no information, Honorable Member.
May I proceed, Chair? Thank you, General. But you know Kat Matlala?
Very well.
Okay.
I think
When did you first meet Kat Matlala?
I met Kat Matlala in December
Of?
last year,
2024,
2024. That's the
before
first
the directive.
That's the first time I met Kat Matlala. December 2024. I can't remember the date, but it was after the raid.
The raid on the 8th or the 6th, the 6th of
Yeah.
December.
Because that's one thing that brought him to me.
So
You-
what is there a connection between the raid on 6th December where we know
There are,
that
there are
PKTT
issues that he raised to me about the raid.
So can you tell us, well, first tell us how it is that you came to meet him. Did you know him before that?
No, I didn't know him before that, and I don't know how it happened because the people of his stature, I would know about them, especially from what the township? From MAMS, from Mamelodi. I have had a lot of community engagement in Mamelodi, and they will raise the issues about the people that give them trouble. One person that was very prominent was Keke. There's a guy called Keke in Mamelodi. I think he's doing 20 years now. It's been said. So we went there. We had Imbizo. 27 people spoke at Imbizo. Not a single one spoke of Keke. The 27th person spoke about Keke and was given a standing ovation. And this person made a statement that I'm ready to die after speaking with Keke. So you would know that there are people like Keke and things. But nobody ever raised an issue about Matala. Nobody. Then Bongani Mpungos, who is a son of Sputla Mpungos, who is a son of Sputla Mpungos, who comes from Nongoma or Matubatuba, where he comes from, and a very notorious taxi person. Because of my involvement as the MEC for Transport and Police, when there are problems of taxi industry, then I will meet these people. So I knew Sputla through that, the father of Bongani. So Bongani then brings Matlala to me. So I think a week or 2 weeks I've read earlier to say there is this Tembisa person who has received this 360, is it 360 or 260 amount of contract from the South African police. They came and I met them in Beverly Hill in Durban. So I met there. I think I delayed two days because Bongani, who's known as Mabonga, did not tell me that he's bringing somebody else. So as I came there, because there was a photo of Kate, I said to him, "You look like Kate." He said, "I'm one." I said, "Nkosi yami, what's the story with you and me and all that?" So he said, "No, he has asked Mabonga to come to me because there are 2 issues he wants to raise with me."
Where were you meeting?
Beverly Hills Hotel in Durban.
The Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yes, sir. Do you know Beverly Hills?
It's a fancy hotel.
Yeah, it's a very high, it's a high-end hotel. No doubt about it. It's a high-end hotel, Beverly Hills. But we met at the dining hall there, and then he raised 2 issues. He said Mabonga must bring him to me because he realizes that he's being abused or he's being used for the political games that he do not understand. Firstly, he said he has met Minister Mkhunu, him and Brown Mahosi, 3 of them. And they spoke about him because he's got money through the tender, him to fund his project of becoming either a president or deputy president. He didn't know. Myself, I didn't know which project was it. So that's that. But
So, just to be clear, so he's telling you that he met with Mogotsi and with Minister
The minister,
Mkhunu,
yes.
and it was about the funding
of the
for-
project of
of the
becoming
project.
a president or deputy president. Okay. This is Kat telling me why he wanted to meet me. But what puzzled him there, for him to want to meet me, he was told by the minister that we'll work together so long we don't come close to Cele and Zuma. I don't know why he mixes me with Zuma. But it looks like that's what he said, that don't come close to Cele and Zuma, so we'll work well with. So that's why he says he realized that there is a game, some political games, hence wanted to see me.
Did he give any details of when they met? He met with Mogotsi and with Minister Mkhunu.
No, and I did not want details myself. But he didn't. The second one was about then the raid. The raid that happened, I didn't know about the raid. As I'm saying that maybe this latter part of some members of PKTT joining Gauteng, I didn't know until Kat says to me, he wants to speak to me because he was raided. He says the people that raided him woke him up as he was sleeping and bambulingo bathi vuka. Then I realized that was a special task force. Immediately, when they come to your bathroom and they wake you up, that could be only nobody but a special task force, those capabilities. So I realized that was this. So I asked, what has happened? No, they've raided him on matters, I think on matters of accusation of drugs and all that kind of thing. So me, where do I come? No, he says, he comes to me because he realizes that he has been abused. After that, he says he has been approached by Sibia, General Sibia, to write an affidavit against Khumalo so that Khumalo can be arrested. So this Kat tells me.
Which Khumalo? You know
Khumalo-
quite a few Khumalos.
No, this one, the
Not
head,
Dr. Khumalo.
the head of the CI.
Yeah.
The head of the CI, the leader of the PKTT. Yeah. He says, why? He said, no, I've come to you because of that. But what made me really come to you is that there is a case that is coming next week where I've taken Khumalo and his team to court for unlawful raid. So the reason is that I must take Khumalo to court so that he can lose the case and the Sibia finds the way to discipline him. That is Kat telling me the story. He goes on to say he was told or stroke the affidavit of taking Khumalo was written by Sibia to say they've stolen his Rolex and the nobutwebe, what ubutwebe? Jewelry for the wife. So they must write it so that it's not just the raid, but it's also the theft. So that's why he comes to me. He says he doesn't want to take police to court because he has just got the tender. So he doesn't want to harm his relationship with police. So Mamonga told him that I know Khumalo, so I can talk to Khumalo that they resolve the matter out of court. And indeed, I did speak to Khumalo about this thing. And I guess the lawyers did talk and the matter didn't go to court. But also I suggested to him that maybe it will be good if he meets Khumalo and brings Khumalo per se. I don't know if they did meet with Khumalo. But in the case, I know that did not go to court. So that's how I know Kat, and I wish I could not have met him, but now I have met him.
When did you speak to Lieutenant General Kumalo? Or was it after the meeting?
It had two people.
I'm looking at the time. We need to break immediately. But I will request the Honorable Sokanyile to place a question.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. No, I thought the former minister hasn't finished. If Matlala and so come to him to say that there is this for Kumalo, wrong affidavit, and Matlala has recently got the tender, then if they are saying that they've come to you to assist, they said to you, what are they going to give you? What was at stake for you, for them to assist? They didn't say anything.
No, they didn't say anything but giving me the stake, and I didn't want any stake. The issue was, again, not most by Matlala. It was by the person who knows me, who is a son of a person that we worked in the taxi industry. But there was no prize. I hope prize would have been called. But there was no prize. There was no prize of it.
Honorable Malem.
So, General, we understand you to be saying a son of a person you have known convened a meeting and did not warn you that he's coming with someone else. And you walked into a meeting and then you found him with Matlala, a face that looked familiar. And you immediately said to this face, "Are you not Kat?" And he was quick to agree that he's Kat. And they came to you that we thought you can help us with the following issues, because we think you've got relationship with Kumal. One issue is that I'm being abused or used because I got a tender of 360 million to finance a campaign of Minister Mkhunu to become either president or a deputy president. I had a meeting with them, Mkhotsi and Mkhunu, and they can only work with me if I don't bring Cele and Zuma into the picture. And then secondly, I was raided illegally. My watch was stolen and the jewelry of my wife. And Sibia wrote an affidavit for me to sign so that if Kumalo is found guilty in court, he can be disciplined internally. And then that's the way they will find the quickest way to get rid of Kumalo into the police. And then he realizes then that I'm being used to fight internal police battles.
Yes.
And as they articulate that, nothing has been offered in exchange for you to intervene or help them. They don't say, as a result of this intervention you're going to make, you'll get this or that. They just came to you as a well-known politician, an elder to this Mpongo's son, and they thought perhaps they can get counseling, advice, and some intervention from you. Am I correct?
I believe so.
Thank you.
With the one, the affidavit, you say Sibia gave to Kat to sign. I don't know whether was giving words to Kat, but the affidavit was influenced by Sibia when it was developed. It could have been written by Kat, but being instructed. Even that affidavit, I'm told, it was not even because this was happening in Waterkloof, but I'm told that the affidavit was signed somewhere in Soweto. They said there was somebody that would be easy, station commander, to sign and agree with that affidavit.
Let me check. I see the hand of Honorable Sangon. Is there any other member who wants to speak so that we can close the list? Raise your hands, those who want to speak. Okay, Honorable Sangoni, Honorable Skosana, Honorable Nomvalo, you are third and the last.
No, thanks, Chair. No, just very briefly, General. Was this Rolex and the jewelry stolen or not? So was the affidavit that Matlala deposed fake? Did he lie under oath? Because when you depose an affidavit, you make an affirmation under oath. So was the jewelry and the Rolex stolen regardless of who stole it? Or in your interpretation or understanding of the issues, he deposed a fake affidavit? Thank you.
No, I remember him very well saying there was no Rolex stolen from him. I remember him saying so. That's why he raised the issue of him being. But the issue was that they had to find the way of dealing with Khumalo. That's why I always think that even the arrest of Khumalo at the later stage has got issues. They started some time trying to arrest Khumalo some time back.
May I pass, Honorable Member? Honorable Skosana.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to ask the former Minister, Cele, the clarity that for the first time when you met Kate was in Beverly Hills Hotel. Are you confirming that under oath?
Sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chair.
May I pass? Charlie? May I pass?
Yes, thank you.
Honorable Nomvan.
Honorable Kusela copied my notes, Chair. I wanted to get some clarity on the jewelry issue, but it has been clarified.
Honorable members, I had said that we were going to break immediately, but I can see that you are gradually coming to accept that immediately is not immediately. Senior SC, may I check if you wanted to conclude your questions before we break? The honorable members are agreeing that immediately is no longer immediate.
It's a convenient time, Honourable Chair, to take the lunch adjournment.
So you are restoring immediately.
Yes.
Thank you so much, honorable members. We will come back at 14 hours.
Chair, may I make a comment? It looks like the immediate doesn't work for the witness.
No, when we come back, I'm going to give you time.
The witness was not asked. It just conforms. Okay.